I have to face it, Dean Ambrose sucks. If you didn't know, I'm Adrian Alex Poe, and I'm one of the biggest Ambrose fans, but I am not a delusional fan. For many months, Ambrose has been lazy on the mic, boring in the ring, and there's nothing lunatic fringe about him. Despite the horrible booking, Vince McMahon not believing in him, and the whole WWE machine not backing him, the only person to blame is Ambrose. Now that Ambrose is finally world champ, it's his title to lose. Will he just hand it back to Roman Reigns? Or will he finally start looking and acting like the top babyface of the WWE? Turns out the only reason Ambrose got the world title is because Roman Reigns violated the wellness policy and got suspended for 30 days. WWE and Vince weren't even going to suspend Reigns, but since it got out, they had no choice. Rumors say they knew about the violation a week before Money in the Bank pay-per-view and still allowed Reigns to be in the main event. His punishment was losing the title. Then Reigns showed up the next night on Raw and still participated in the main event and set up the Shield triple threat match at Battleground. The point of a punishment is to take away the privileges before they were supposed to happen. But Reigns already was in Money in the Bank, Monday Night Raw, and his suspension conveniently ends 2 days before Battleground, where he will still be in the main event. Also, losing the title is not a punishment because now Vince gets a chance to make Reigns a 4-time world champion, either at Battleground, SummerSlam, or worse, WrestleMania 33. Now Rollins and Ambrose will carry the feud on their own, leading to one of the biggest matches ever. Then Reigns will just show up like nothing happened and probably win. It's funny how Rollins cheats on his girl with an anti-Semitic hot Nazi bitch and gets his dick plastered all over Twitter. Reigns does drugs, while Ambrose keeps his head down and his nose clean. And the saddest part is, Ambrose will lose his first title defense at a major pay-per-view in the biggest match of his career. Other rumors say before Ambrose became champion, he was drawing the same amount or bigger crowds on the B house shows than Reigns was on the A house shows. Ambrose is beating Reigns badly in merchandise sales, while recently on Raw and SmackDown ratings have increased with Ambrose as world champ. So I don't understand why Vince won't give Ambrose a proper run with the title. Now Reigns put an apology on Twitter, owning his mistake, and people give him so much credit. I don't, and here's why. Nobody held Reigns down and forced him to take whatever drugs. He consciously chose to take it himself, knowing how important his position in the company was, and he disregarded that and all the other wrestlers and some of his friends in the locker room. He knew he was the face of the WWE, and all the time, money, and creative effort were put into him while others were disregarded, jobbed out, their pushes stopped, and their character growth ignored, just so Roman Reigns can get over. Yes, he made a mistake, but instead of being punished appropriately, he will be awarded once he returns. It's bad enough Reigns is still in the main event match at Battleground, but if he does not job to Ambrose clean as a whistle, it will be a new low for WWE, and Reigns will be more hated and booed harder than any human alive. It will prove that nothing in the WWE will ever change, and anyone not named John Cena and Roman Reigns doesn't stand a chance in the WWE. First, I want to read an answer that Ambrose gave to a question at Wizard Comic-Con about a year ago, which might explain why he can't be the true lunatic fringe John Moxley-ish character that he wishes he could be, and why we currently see the subdued lame Joker Ambrose character. With all the success and fans you have in the WWE, do you ever miss indie wrestling and being John Moxley? He answers, some days you really wish you could take the gloves off and do things and say things that you really can't say or do on national TV. Sometimes you wish you had a little bit more freedom to do the stuff you want to do. In independent wrestling, you have a blank canvas to do anything you want inside and outside the ring. You still can in the WWE, but there are certain barriers you have to exist in. I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. I was always drawn to intense, gritty, angry, violent wrestling. That's not really what the WWE is. Professional wrestling like that doesn't even really exist anymore. Once you realize what sport entertainment is and see how good that can be. Now you see little kids, you do appearances and meet Make-A-Wish kids. You see 6-year-old girls with your doll and other kids with your action figure, and you go, holy crap, I'm like a superhero to them. This is so different on how I thought it would turn out. There are two different worlds, but now it's a whole new world here, and I wouldn't trade it. So just because Reigns got suspended doesn't mean the Roman Empire is finished. The same rules don't apply to him, and once he returns, it will continue to only be about pushing Reigns down our throats. Listen to what an ex-intern from WWE, who still has a brother working as a writer there, said about Reigns and Ambrose. Question: what direction is WWE going in? Are they really that insane that Roman Reigns needs to be the next Cena plus Hogan? Example: Cody Rhodes wanted to trash the Stardust character after his father Dusty Rhodes passed away. The intern heard that Vince McMahon's people like Kevin Dunn and all those jabronis put a complete halt to it, saying that he would receive sympathy and that would halt Reigns' push. If it's not about Roman right now, they don't give a shit. Ambrose is kind of in there, but he is only in there to catapult Reigns. He isn't in there for any other reason. There were many brilliant booking ideas that would have gotten over, but were turned down for the simple fact that it would outshine Roman Reigns in the main event spot. With Reigns suspended for 30 days, Ambrose must take advantage. This is Ambrose's world title to lose. Ambrose needs to start looking and acting like a world champion who is the face of the WWE. Here are a few simple things Ambrose could do if he wants to keep the belt when Reigns returns. Number 1. Gain 30 pounds of muscle. This is more to satisfy Vince McMahon's big muscle bodybuilder fetish. Also for Ambrose to look more like a credible threat against bigger opponents to make it more believable like he could actually beat them. If Ambrose packs on a few pounds, maybe creative won't book him like a weak ragdoll like they did against Lesnar. Number 2. Add more moves. This is the number one complaint fans have about Ambrose. He has become complacent and just going through the motions. Why can't he just add one or two fresh moves and a better finisher? I've seen him put on epic wrestling matches in CCW against Austin Aries and Daniel Bryan. Also, he did more technical wrestling moves in NXT, so I know he can actually wrestle. I just don't get why he chooses not to try some new moves. Number 3. Get rid of the jeans. Once I saw Ambrose try to do a super kick to the face, but he couldn't lift his leg high enough because of his tight-ass jeans and kicked the guy in the stomach. Wear something that makes you look like a world champion wrestler, not a bum. Put on some wrestling tights or underwear like he had on as Jon Moxley. Maybe he will have a wider range of moves. And finally, take promo chances. Ambrose is great on the mic, but lately, he has been sounding lazy and too jokey. Reigns, at least, has intensity and commits to the crap he says. Ambrose needs to get serious on the mic. Fuck scripted bullshit, fuck PG, and fuck Vince McMahon. Push the envelope. Channel some Jon Moxley if you have to. Remember, you're supposed to be a lunatic who doesn't give a fuck. And if Ambrose doesn't try to change anything, then he is the only one to blame when he fails. Here is the answer Daniel Bryan gave on Chris Jericho's podcast when asked about his thoughts on Roman Reigns getting booed and being pushed over him going into WrestleMania 31. How did you feel when Roman Reigns was getting booed and when they had you going toe-to-toe at Fastlane 2015? Bryan responded, I thought it was overreactionary. I was thrilled with the possibility of being in the main event again. I don't necessarily agree with this direction of a three-way at WrestleMania 31. For example, last year, I did agree with the direction as far as going into a three-way at WrestleMania 30 because after the Royal Rumble, fans didn't get behind Batista. But after the Royal Rumble this year, 2015, the second Monday Night Raw in Denver, people were cheering Reigns. They were going nuts for Roman. Most of the TVs going into Fastlane were cheering Roman. The only reason maybe why they didn't is because they also really liked me. It wasn't like last year where we are pushing Daniel Bryan and we don't want to see Batista or Orton. We only want to see Bryan. So if this is the plan they are going with, Reigns to main event WrestleMania 31, I think they made the right decision. I want to remind people I don't hate Reigns as a person. I hate what he represents, the establishment, the machine, John Cena 2.0, and more of the same. When I hear people say, wish they would book Reigns better or just turn him heel, makes no sense because Reigns has the best booking. WWE books him stronger than 10 John Cenas, and if you turn him heel, Reigns will be shoved down our throats even harder. He will be booked even stronger. Still in the main event, continue to be fed the best talent to make him look great, and soon will be a four-time world champion as the so-called face of the company for another 10 years. So I want Reigns off my TV for good, because as long as he exists in the WWE, it will only be about Reigns, while everyone else is pushed aside, and their only sole purpose in the WWE is to help Reigns get over. The two best ways to get rid of Reigns for good is whenever he comes to the ring, show no reaction. Zero reaction. Don't boo him, don't cheer him, don't even chant at him because any noise generated towards him will be seen by Vince McMahon as popularity. The more attention you give to him, negative or positive, it feeds the Roman monster and worse, takes away from others who are in the ring with him at the time. Best example is the crowd on Raw focused more on hating Reigns, making it more about him and less about the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Dean Ambrose. The second best thing a crowd can do is if they have the balls, throw trash into the ring whenever Reigns comes out to cut a promo or have a match. After a while, WWE will get the point and Reigns won't come out anymore. So let me know in the comments your thoughts on Ambrose as world champ. Can Ambrose improve in time to convince Vince McMahon not to take the title off him when Reigns returns? And once he loses the title, will he ever win it back again?